Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and it looks like the hack or the hacking attempt, the NPM attack, that which all the Ledger people were freaking out about yesterday. It looks like they've gotten past that. It fortunately failed with almost no victims. It began with a phishing email. Folks, let me remind you, don't click on anything. No text, no emails, nothing. Don't answer the phone from numbers you don't know. These people will try to talk you into, they'll try to convince you that they're whoever support Coinbase or whatever, and you click on those links or give them any information. Don't ever give anybody your 24 words. None of that. If you're sick of having to worry about all of the above, do what I did. Get you a Caleb and Brown account and put your crypto in free institutional grade custody. They use Fireblocks. You also get a broker you can actually talk to. So if you did accidentally click on a link, this is huge. If you did accidentally click on a link, just about all the places that you can trade crypto, you go into a support line. You have to send an email or get in some, support functionality of these exchanges, not with Caleb and Brown. You can pick up the phone, call your broker, or you can send them an email and you'll get a response. My responses have all been within 5 minutes, pretty much. It is awesome. Trust me. And then you get your exit liquidity necessary to get out with over-the-counter exchanges. They've got all kinds of providers. You can go to XRPwealth589.com and it'll forward you right here to my page on Caleb and Brown. They are one of my partners. Just click the sign up today button. We have ourselves a $2.99 XRP. This market is it's inching up slowly but surely. I think there's a lot of anticipation of interest rates being decreased, ETFs, the Clarity Act being passed in probably October. You can feel it. Gold is surging again, $3,665. Trump is tired of the Fed, as he calls him, too late Powell. If the Fed had followed what we published, they would have raised rates in early 2021. The entire organization is broken. It needs to be fixed. They need to use modern sources of information. They need a modern payment system too, folks. He goes on, too late, has done a terrible job since he adapted a 2 target. It's too low, too rigid. They follow data that's years delayed. They don't believe that the money supply matters. It's like the Pope not believing in Jesus. We think that's a much bigger problem than this notion that they're dependent or they're not independent. Chair Powell was too late to raise rates. They need to come down here. There's no question about it. He's dragging his feet. The Fed's going to come down here 50, 75, maybe 100. And then this is an interesting clip right here. This is Peter Thiel. Remember, same Peter Thiel, one of the founders of PayPal, same Peter Thiel that ran the Founders Fund, which was an investor in Ripple before it was Ripple. It was OpenCoin. Same PayPal founder whose original goal was to create a global digital currency, and they couldn't do it. They had to scrap those plans when they were doing PayPal because they had VC investors that were more interested in shorter term profits, so it didn't work for them at that point.
When I was pitching PayPal back in 1999, one of the standard props, money is a very mysterious thing. It always hold up a $100 bill. And it's like, you have even something as basic as this. Why does it have value? It says this note is legal tender for all debts public and private. What exactly does that mean? The legal tender for all debt public and private, there is quite a bit of violence implicit in that. If you pay your taxes, you need to use dollars. You can't pay your taxes and other things. So private debts, maybe you can use other things than dollars. Public debts, you have to get dollars to pay them. And then if you don't pay them, some people will come after you, and if you resist them, they'll come with guns and they'll put you in jail, and on and on. There's the simplistic end game that people have for, how does all the debt end? The people in the US think, we're never going to pay it off. In fact, we're just going to keep borrowing more and more. And that's what we've been doing. And we're just going to borrow more, and we're going to keep borrowing more forever. And then the foreigners think at some point, we're going to get repaid. And these dollars, they're really good. They're super protected because of all this military superpower. So it's the best currency in the world, and they'll be expecting to get these dollars out. And then somehow the U.S. model is, of course, they're never going to get paid back. And then maybe there's like this violence question implicit in this, or at least this hidden violence question, where will the military power be used to protect the Federal Reserve or wherever, and they can just print money. And so in a way, if we can print money, then it's like, okay, yeah, we'll pay you in dollars, but you can't collect. Can China send a gunboat in and say, you're not allowed to print money, you have to pay us back in real money? And then, of course, this is never even really articulated.
Tell you what, you can see the writing on the wall. Crypto was not sent here just for a bunch of speculation, folks. It was sent to replace the entire financial system, and I'm starting to believe replace the Federal Reserve itself, or remake. I think they're going to remake the Federal Reserve is basically what it really means. Charles Hoskinson's telling you who's coming.
So now that regulations move in the right direction, when you look at the Genius Act and the Clarity Act soon to come, all the big guys are going to come in, not just the big banks, but also the Mag 7. So Microsoft's going to come in, Google's going to come in, Amazon's going to come in. All these companies are experimenting with blockchain technology. Google even built its own blockchain based on Starkware. So all these people have this amazing technology. They have no incentive to go boost Ethereum or deploy on Ethereum. They can be Ethereum adjacent or gather liquidity, but they own the users. They have 3.5 billion users when you look at where they sit. So they can put a wallet in Android, they can put a wallet in Windows, they can put a wallet on their platforms. And when and where they do that, suddenly they're kind of kingmakers of the on and off ramps, and they're probably going to do something in a different direction. So it's not to say they couldn't potentially find a future in all of this, but it's hard to manage that type of monopoly when you have all these forces changing. It kind of feels like a Yahoo, or it kind of feels like a BlackBerry, where you're good until the paradigm changes. And then when the paradigm changes, you collapse.
Oh man, it's going to be some interesting times. Now the ECB is monitoring stable coins.
I was also going to say a bit about crypto and stable coins. So these entities are also, and you see it on this slide, of course, growing at amazing speed. And this maybe complements a bit Madame Lagarde's words from this morning. So on the left-hand side, you see the rise in the total market capitalization of crypto assets. At the very bottom, the blue line is the stable coins. So it's relatively small, of course, at this point in time, but you do see that it's growing. And we do know that there's a political push in some areas of the world to promote stable coins more, and also, of course, crypto assets more in general. So it is something I think that we should be aware of, that we should monitor very closely, and to understand what it means. Again, same type of risks that are in the economy will also affect stable coins. So it's important to look here. And it has implications not only on financial stability, it also has implications on the whole payment sphere. And I think Thorsten alluded to it this morning.
I thought crypto was just a scam, folks.
Is the potential for a lot of competition between stablecoins, the credit cards, traditional bank-based financing, or when we have it, the digital euro, for instance. So I think this whole payment landscape is going to be shaken up and then look potentially very different. And then finally, we have the issue of monetary sovereignty. That is also, I think, something that central banks should look very closely.
Oh, the whole landscape's changing. Now look at this. Why the growth of crypto blockchain technology will be exponential.
GDP, which is today at 84 trillion, is projected to double over the next 20 years, all thanks to technological innovation. We need to recognize the speed of change, the acceleration of advancement as an unprecedented pace because of the exponentiality of computer technology. With that as a background, I want to shift to specifically the exponential tech of blockchain technology and crypto. The Bank of England says this is going to transform the global financial system. 76% of TradFi is developing blockchain technology right now. Global spending in 2021 was $6 billion. Last year it was $19 billion. Gartner says that the global blockchain market, which is right now 176 billion, by the end of the decade, will be 3 trillion. PwC says it's going to add nearly $2 trillion to GDP by the end of the decade. The technology lets businesses operate faster, cheaper, safer, with greater transparency and inclusion. JP Morgan says it's going to save banks $120 billion a year in processing costs. We have to recognize that all of this is all about the evolution of the internet. The original internet that was developed in the 1990s, we now refer to it as Internet 1.0, was all about connecting people. Right? You use email and texting, later Facebook and Twitter, where we used the internet to connect with each other. Then we had Internet 2.0, the Internet of Things, where your phone is talking to your car. We now are embarking today on Internet 3.0, the Internet of Money. We are now moving money at the speed of the
Internet 3.0 is exactly what we're talking about. And then you got the BIS Innovation Summit. They're talking about it too.
So the better
I'm going to play the whole thing.
we think about is to regulate. And our regulation is in full alignment with the FSB standards. There's no light touch, no partial regulation. It's comprehensive, and that's why we have a standalone legislation. And for crypto asset trading platform, we've put in a legislation, I thought last year, and the Securities Commission is the regulator because it's more like investment. For the stablecoin, we've just passed a legislation that's gone effective last month, and we're now inviting applications, and I thought people get overexcited about that. And we are the regulator. So again, the aim is really to provide clear, transparent guardrails with a platform that people can use. But when it comes to tokenized asset or tokenization in general, the approach is slightly different in that we are looking more at it as development and acting more as enabler or even facilitator. Our own tokenization journey actually also started here. About 3-4 years ago, when we had this project together with the BI's Innovation Hub called Project Genesis, where we did a prototype on tokenized green bond. And then 3 years ago, we took it into the real world by helping our
tokenized bonds. Okay, we're going to go into DAIXRP.com, the Patreon. If you'd rather join through YouTube, click join below any of these buttons. Or if you'd rather join through X, hit subscribe. We do the full video, the extra video, and we do no commercials in there. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.